And I know, 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 I know. You gotta leave your thing alone. And the sunshine when she's gone. Dum, 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 dum.
Yes, so we are here in Langkawi with the Lintas Benua. Grace and I, and we were like, oh my God, we're so hot. My partner and I, Chris, have been involved with, in conversations with Amir for about 7 years now, doing projects with him with a festival that he started in Copenhagen called the Stateless Mind Festival.
Hi, my name is Amir Zainurin. I'm an artist based in Copenhagen. I'm a founder of an artist collective called Jambatan, which is also based in Copenhagen.
So this represents the culmination of many years of work, beginning when we founded CATSR in 2018. Over this period, we've done a lot of work in various countries, in various contexts. One of the kind of guiding goals of the early years of CATSR was to really build a kind of network of thinkers, makers, scholars, researchers that may have institutional affiliations, but importantly may not have institutional affiliations, and find ways to bring them together and start to stitch together not just a kind of local or regional network, but in fact an international network, where artists, for example, from Mexico, from the Middle East, from Asia, where a space was created to bring those, to create a new kind of, in a sense, a kind of mapping of the world, and to really exploit that as a kind of important kind of experiment for the forms, the cultural forms that those confrontations, those collisions, those collaborations, in many cases, generate.
You know, this state of in-between also I feel when I come back to Malaysia, because when I'm back here, I have another way of how I see things, and so I don't really belong here as well in a way, or nor in Denmark. So it's always somewhere in the sky.
And we really connected with Amir because of our commitment to supporting artists who are immigrant artists, migrant artists, people who are in places that are not their birthplaces, and also to develop cultural spaces in which there is an appreciation for many different languages, backgrounds, practices, philosophical traditions, theoretical positions, and religious practices. And so through our collaboration, we began talking about doing a residency together. Because I'm the research and program director and co-founder of the Center for Arts, Design, and Social Research, which works out of both Boston and Helsinki, Finland, Boston, US, and Helsinki, Finland. And what we are committed to doing is creating international residencies in different places all around the world that bring together people across national boundaries and across disciplines and also across different political practices in order to create new forms of dialogue and also hopefully to build new relationships and networks of resources and to create new projects as well, new artworks, new writings, new films, new publication, new forms also of publications. And also to rethink where art can happen. Does it only happen in the institutional places such as museums and galleries? Could it happen elsewhere? And I think that's really what brought us to the conversation with Amir, because he is Malaysian living in Denmark, and wanted to imagine the kinds of conversations that we were having together in Denmark and Finland, and what might happen if we had that kind of conversation in Malaysia with Malaysian artists, but also with artists and scholars, artists and scholars from Malaysia, but also artists and scholars from both the Nordic region and the rest of the world. So we planned this residency over a period of about 7 months in collaboration with our colleague Fadli at Kapallorek Art Space, and also with our colleague Zaslan at the National Art Gallery Langkawi. And so we designed a residency that would do an open call for, again, Malaysian artists and international artists, and begin in Ipoh and then continue to Langkawi, which is where we are now.
So it's like a triangle, in Denmark, Finland, and also Malaysia. So it's like a 15-day residency that we are organizing, and we basically have different activities from day 1 to day 15. It's like a 15-day research residency.
One of the things that's important to us too as an institution is the question of pedagogy, and really the kind of central role that teaching and learning has in really the formation of culture and also the very politics that we practice. And that has been one of the major themes here in Malaysia. We had the benefit of 2 visitors who were the founders of Borneo Comrade who have created an extraordinary project now 10 years plus old, of working with youth and who are stateless youth and trapped between the various kinds of national boundaries of the Philippines, Indonesia, and Malaysia, and are essentially made illegal by the very nature of their birth.
Jadi kita urus sampai tahap dia harus di in-test. Dan baru beberapa bulan lepas, setelah berapa tahun, 3 ke 4 tahun rasanya diurus, akhirnya dia dapat kad pengenalan warga negara Malaysia.
I think that was it was such a privilege to have those conversations and to be privy to the work that has gone into what is in fact a long struggle for kind of cultural autonomy and recognition for those communities, and the work that artists have done to create the conditions for change in those, create the conditions for change in that community.
Ketika negara tidak memperakui seseorang individu, bermakna individu tersebut tidak mendapat hak asasinya di dalam negara tersebut. Mereka tidak boleh bersekolah, mereka tidak boleh punya rumah, mereka tidak boleh akses kesihatan dengan baik, bahkan mereka juga tidak boleh bekerja. Jadi projek sekolah alternatif ini dibuat untuk menyediakan peluang pendidikan
kepada anak-anak stateless dan memperjuangkan keadilan buat mereka. Apa yang kami ajar di dalam sekolah alternatif adalah memberikan mereka asas literasi dan numerasi, menyediakan mereka ruang yang selamat, selain mereka juga dilatih untuk meningkatkan kemahiran di dalam diri mereka.
Pada waktu yang sama di dalam university kita fikirkan bahwa tidak ada gerakan anak muda yang betul-betul berprinsip dan radikal, apatah lagi tidak memihak mana-mana parti. Kita pun sepakat untuk melahirkan satu gerakan yang agak politikal, yang mungkin agak asing seperti Klub Sastra Mahasiswa. Oleh itu kita melahirkan lagi satu pasangan daripada gerakan seni itu, yaitu Suara Mahasiswa. Bila mana ada dua gerakan di dalam kampus, kita pun mula memikirkan apa yang akan kita perpanjangkan selepas kita bergraduasi. Maka wujudlah satu lagi gerakan di luar kampus sesuai dengan slogan kita, memusnahkan tembok university. Kita pun wujudkan lagi satu gerakan di luar, yaitu Borneo Comrade.
They say there was a time that humans ruled the world. A world where peace was restored, a world where humans were humane, a world where money didn't exist, a world where love prevailed. And then there was our world. A world that has been corrupted by greed and power, a world on the verge of extinction, a world where no one is more valuable than the papers they possess, where only systems of power and oppression control us all. Hikmat, i.e. wisdom in Arabic, is a power that exists in the universe. It is implanted in each and every one of us. Only if you understand your true purpose and show up for yourself, you can harness that power back and use it to empower others. So learning through fiction is also very important, because of when things collide. I mean, that's how mountains are made, when lands are colliding. So there's a lot of things to learn with collision, but also, of course, with care and awareness of where are those things happening, and by creating spaces for the conversations with those discrepancies. So thinking about...
So my name is Karine Koleilat. I am a Lebanese Palestinian. I'm currently based in Sweden, and I am a filmmaker, an aspiring researcher, and a creative entrepreneur. So my main practice is filmmaking. And I try to exist within the intersections of all those worlds. So the business world, the academic world, the filmmaking industry, and the art world, and what is in between all of them, and trying to always shift modes of engagement and communication in between the different parts. Trying to explore what happens in between.
And this is near where I grew up and where I went to high school. And there is this program, free breakfast program, that we're connected to at the nearest Baptist church. And it's actually an interfaith community that serves free breakfast, offers free showers, and temporary cohabitation spaces for people who are experiencing homelessness or hunger. And what happened is because a lot of people in my school at that time, we go, we volunteer there and we share time. And then people actually asked to be photographed. A lot of people experiencing, houselessness, because they wanted to be seen in a way that was with dignity.
I always create I call them teams or sub-teams, that I invite different disciplines, 2 artists, 1 scientist. And their duty is to create together there is no leader, that they need do this to create together some kind of workshop for the society.
Hey, I'm Katja Juhola. I'm from Finland. I'm artist and art researcher, and my own research focus with collaboration with natural sciences and artists with the theme of environmental issues. And I've been doing my research since 2019, so basically it means like more than 6 years. My defense is just behind the corner, excited to see what will be. And yeah, I came here because I really felt that this is maybe something what is really connected to my own work, because with my own work also I've been always working with the internationally and with the art and science, and that was also a collaboration, and that was a call when I apply here, that similar kind of things, and I was feeling really happy about it when I was accepted.
Well, the intellectualization of content has been so fast. So what is now the role of an artist in showing context? You know, if the most accessible forms on YouTube, Al Jazeera, or whatever like you're subscribing to, they can offer these already.
Hi, I'm Renan Laruan. I'm a curator and theorist of contemporary arts based in Berlin, originally from the Philippines. I've joined the international residency program Lintas Benua, Crossing Continents, as faculty fellow. I've been working with the Center for Arts, Design and Social Research in the past 2 years, but I've already known Dalida for many years through other engagements and collective thinking and projects.
How do we relate to the animal or insect that we chose? What are their positive, negative, or other connotations? What are their strengths and weaknesses? How are they understood in different geographical and cultural contexts?
I'm happy to be back in Southeast Asia and Malaysia, thinking about being immersed in a new context, in different times, and how artistic research, learning with artists and the place could propose new ways of living together, but also how these artistic commitments can envision new pathways for solving problems, or maybe even just realizing how to live with problems.
And then my writing looks like this. It's not readable, and this is what I do every day. And it's not supposed to be. So this is what I'm saying. Like I need to facilitate the space where I come into a stream of consciousness, and I can ask myself questions beforehand. What do I need to solve? What do my soul want to tell me today?
My name is Birgitte Lynger Andersen, and I'm an artist from Denmark. I have a conceptual approach to materials and techniques, and my artistic practice in the field of printmaking in the widest range. And I often choose to work with textiles as I bring in inherited stories. So in my practice, I have this dialogue with materials, techniques, and references, and the storytelling, and I aim to align these forces. My hope was to connect with the contemporary and the traditional culture scene of Malaysia. So to have an eye on the use of materials such as textile, and to gain forces with other artists.
I really think that Saubin's work was so great that he really I never heard anybody else to describe these things, that what is different between collective and institution, and also that we need to have this, we need to work together And I'm kind of like thinking this, what we've been talking about being a pair and like horizontal, not like this, that there is a pause and then goes down, but we are more like a circle and we are doing together and interacting. And when that kind of thing is no more existing, I think that's the end of the collective, as Sauben said.
Yeah, and also the if there's a curator in the collective, then it's not a collective.
No, then there is one person.
Yeah, there's one person.
I'm Saubin from Kuala Lumpur. I'm an artist, curator, and I teach at the Faculty of Creative Multimedia University. And of course, I'm also a member of Rumah Air Panas, a pretty dated art collective based in Kuala Lumpur.
Saudara, Kongsi Udara. Okay, so it is actually in Bahasa, it means that we of the same blood or similar blood in that sense, we share air. So what do I do here? Actually, you'll be surprised. I'm here driving, cooking, becoming a tech support, right? Hanging out with all the other friends. But of course, more importantly, I'm very happy to be invited to join the fellowship and also along the research program to share some ideas and experience, especially in the talk that I gave together in a symposium with Clarissa Lim and Rose Nordin, where we talk about the different development and history from my perspective of artist-run space and art collective, which I was involved in the past, especially Rumah Air Panas. And that was hopefully an interesting contribution to all the members in terms of providing a sort of cursory view of how artist collective and initiative of different types, right, in the past, initially in KL, and then thinking about also other types or other groups which were in existence, practicing, ongoing, right, from KL to other parts of Malaysia, Penang, Ipoh, right, Perak, and the states of Sabah, and so on and so forth. So I think that was something interesting in my perspective, a kind of review, going through that and sharing and thinking about the connection we have made on the regional as well as a global sense, because that is important for us to sort of think about from one's perspective, what are the importance of forming such solidarity of artistic initiative or collectivity networking or meeting, or as I would say, an assemblage of us coming together and to talk about our experience and to learn or to think about the problem we have had, right, the solution, and take a knowledge in a way of how things were done. And in that perspective, I think it was interesting to also listen to the other researchers, for example, Clarissa, who have done extensive research of different case studies of art spaces and collective practice, and then listening to Rose bringing in her experience of running collective and informed by the Black radical activism from the UK. And that is interesting to think about the kind of trajectory of artistic practice and collective experience.
Presenting our work or creating like a universe for our work in a culture in a city that was like highly like Islamophobic and difficult to navigate in the arts, or just kind of, in the arts universities, but also just in the art institutions that we were interested in, and even just on the streets, essentially, even just to be in public. And this kind of like this post 9/11 atmosphere, and also our interest in like DIY culture and making together, really kind of led us to find each other. So really during that period, there was zine fairs like often in London. Like we'd be in these kind of very like DIY spaces, but they were sort of run by like white Londoner like male punks which was always like a fun space to learn, but there was something kind of, I suppose, not strictly designed for us. And so when I found Sophia as like the only other Asian in the room at a zine fair, we kind of started like producing work together or thinking together collectively. So like our collective, just like we really were influenced by the Black radical tradition because of the context we were in London. And we were inspired by a archivist, a publisher, and like a bookstore made by John LaRose. And he spoke about how publishing is this vehicle to like knowing oneself, one's own culture, and essentially engaging and documenting your own culture.
The concept of art collectives and thinking through the notions of art collectives. I'm not really an artist per se, but I am like the leader, an organizer, cultural worker, I'll call myself that. And I like thinking through like ideas about how do we work in collective practice and collective and moments of like decolonization or mutual aid and kind of these forms of resistance against like forms of governance. To indicate an ever-changing interrelationship between the state and multiple civil societies actors. So because public space is typically owned by governance or governments, but civic space is like collectively decided space where the public can access as well. This happens much more in this context, because the public the government doesn't offer enough or usable or easily accessible public spaces. So collectives tend to take on this role. As the nature of the state is still an emerging conception, arts collectives often take efforts in their own hands to build a space where all can access.
Nama saya Fitra Raharjo, panggilan saya Jo, saya perwakilan dari Indonesia. Saya berkegiatan senian dari awal tahun 2007 sampai sekarang. Tapi ada breaknya, dan sekarang saya menjadi desain grafis di Universitas Budi Luhur dan guru seni dan budaya, art and culture di high school di Kota Tangerang City. Lalu di Lintas Benua ini saya coba merespon, mengajak teman-teman untuk membuat sesuatu yang baru tapi dari bahan-bahan bekas. Contohnya adalah recycle paper yang saya buat dari bungkus rokok, kardus, dari limbah-limbah domestik yang kita buat. Dan itu kita jadikan dengan bentuk baru, media baru yang bisa difungsikan lagi atau dialihwahanakan menjadi produk yang bisa dijual atau bisa dipakai.
Bonton ni dia buat program residency, jadi dia ada sediakan banyak fasiliti atau macam tempat untuk artis untuk buat kerja lah. So dia ada macam orang sana pernah buat batik, silk screen, ceramik dan macam-macam lagi lah. Dan ada basic tools untuk kerja-kerja macam installation ke apa-apa. So sekarang dia orang tengah masih like expand lagi the idea. Bonton ni dia resort and then dia also animal shelter. So dekat sana I think boleh ada experience dengan aktiviti-aktiviti kat situ lah. Dia orang boleh observe like macam mana dia orang take care of the binatang, and then orang lokal pun akan datang untuk kadang-kadang volunteer. So ada aktiviti-aktiviti macam tu lah kat situ. And then selain daripada tu, material pun macam yang ada banyak yang around there lah. So Nerel tu dia ada banyak collect barang-barang lama macam antik. So selalunya kita orang buat benda pun cari dan pakai balik barang-barang yang macam terbuang atau barang-barang yang dia kumpul tu and become part of our like creation lah. Sama ada dia artwork ke, installation ke, some kind of like collage, painting ke, benda-benda macam tu lah.
But working throughout this journey with them is kind of like, I always feel there is some tension happening between me and them. Not like me and them, but it's like when they talk to me or when they visualize and actualize my memory process was a lot of tension within the space that I can feel, but I not really know what is the tension about, and I can't fully grasp at that time. So our relationship kind of also evolved further when I going back to school 2019, and then I try to see whether I can unpack this kind of unresolved tension that I encountered during the time that I with them. So I start to adopt anthropological approach. So I learned some like seraphing, sensory ethnography, and also the Timingo philosophy and movement. So this kind of position the body as a vehicle for thinking, perceiving the landscape. So it's not just visually, but also through this active movement and also the multisensory engagement.
So the program itself is a mix of different ways of being together, and it's all designed to create the most dynamic, vibrant forms of exchanges, both between the research community members themselves who share their work in presentations and also have many, many conversations in informal moments over meals while we're traveling to different sites, and of course in discussion with the different people who come to present to us in seminars and workshops. Here in Langkawi, we've had almost daily visits to different sites. For example, we visited a sun print studio and we all made cyanotypes with wonderful artists.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Volkes. I am the daughter of my dad. Yeah, so I'll pass him the floor to him later because he will talk very long. So I'll make it summarize it first. So this space is actually home, I guess a retirement place for both my parents, my dad and my mom, somewhere around the garden. So they are retired art teachers actually. So my dad is a former art lecturer, and my mom is a former high school art teacher. Later on, we'll come back down and do our workshop over here. Yes, you can leave your bags there. Whatever that is covered, will become white, and whatever that is exposed to the sun will come blue. So when it's meant to protect you, need to actually make it
pocket and push further away to say there is a gap right between the acrylic and the paper. So we can actually create kind of
So pedagogy is always a major thread in our work, and let me give you a little bit of an example of what everyday life is like during the course of what is typically anywhere from 10 days to 2 weeks. It is kind of at the heart, it's a kind of pedagogical project. It's a pedagogical get-together. Everybody is attuned to the question of teaching and learning, but importantly, everyone is also attuned to alternative ways of how we do those things, and how we can kind of create spaces that are, both deep and broad outside of conventional strategies, teaching strategies. For example, the necessity for privileging certain sort of canonic forms of knowledge rather than kind of paying attention to kind of the pluriversal potential of many, of considering those many kind of forms of knowing that are typically excluded from conventional education.
From my observation, to most of the hundreds of houses, they have a trend of color scheme. Like this house is 1920s. During that time, most of the houses, in fact, all the houses I visited, is using this yellow color. I don't know why.
We visited a traditional house that represents the architecture of Perak. It's been completely restored by a research center based in Perak, and through that we got a very intensive look at the design strategies of those homes, which are built on stilts in order to keep them safe from flooding. We also learned about how the spaces are designed around both private and public spaces, and also how they were designed to have spaces underneath the house so that people could keep cool, and also to engage in different forms of livestock keeping, and also the harvesting of rice and other crops that would happen underneath the house. And we also learned about the ways that people oriented themselves regarding their proximity to rivers. Very well-informed and generous guide in the Perak house told us that people didn't think of north and south or east or west, but rather they would describe their location in relationship to the river. So the river is you're either going towards the river or you're going away from the river.
Okay, today's food, today's lunch, I was informed by the Kapallorek to provide a local cuisine. Okay, this is gulai tempoyak ikan patin.
And in fact, after the residency, we are also planning an online symposium that will happen in a few weeks. And then we're also planning an exhibition that will happen early next year at Kapallorek Art Space. Those are all unfolding projects, and it will be very exciting to see how our conversations, where we're at now, lead us towards those, again, more public aspects.
What is that?
So yeah, for me, this residency, has taught me a lot about working with other people, collaborating, organizing, meeting new people, new artists, seeing their work. It has been a great experience, and it's a very privilege to work with, especially my collaborators like CDSR and Kapallorek, and also with the host that hosting us, he make it very special. That it seems like it's our own place.
Being in Malaysia has been amazing. It's been a really wonderful context to be working in. Of course, Malaysia has many of the problems that many kind of societies and states are dealing with around immigration, around forms of political exclusion. But all of those things become relativized. While we must remain focused on them, they do become relativized in the personal relationships between the people who are in the residency, both international and those from Malaysia, and also not just Malaysia, but Indonesia and Philippines who are here too. That the sense of it's a kind of politically inflected utopian sort of moment where people can come together, work together, think together. Again, not flattening the kind of questions of power, privilege, or other kind of political urgencies, but really as a space to where in a sense you can it opens kind of a whole set of new potentials. And our colleagues here have been incredibly hospitable, incredibly open, and have also been incredibly generous in their thinking and also in their direction, what they've kind of brought to this and kind of how they've changed the program by kind of directing us in new ways to things that, of course, we didn't know coming in as outsiders.